Hi everyone. Alrighty, so I'm going to go over Friday's lessons. So today in math, we did some reviewing. So on here with the, move this over. All right, that. All right, distributed property. So we took these notes, so you can pause this video and make sure you have all this. So we did 546 times 7. So distributed property looks like this line right here. So you've got these parentheses, and within the parentheses, you're going to take each value. So we start off with the 5. 5 has a value of 500. We multiply that times the 7. We go to the next number, 4. 4 times 7, sorry, not the 4 times 7. The 4 has a value of 40, so we put 40 times 7, like that. And then the value of the 6, because the 6 is in that ones place, it's 6 ones, so 6 times 7. So 500 plus 40 plus 6 all comes from this number 546. And each one of these values, we're multiplying it by 7 because we're multiplying this entire number by 7. So we're just taking it into little parts and multiplying each of the little parts by 7. So then that's distributive property. Then to get the partial products, we have to actually multiply that out. So 500 times 7 is the 3,500. 40 times 7 is 280. 6 times 7 is 42. So partial products looks like this. And then to get our final product, we need to add all those up. So we stacked them up over here according to their place value, added them up. And so for our final number sentence here, 546 times 7 is the same as 3,822. Okay, then we did some review with the box. So this is another way to multiply. It's directly connected. There's a lot of the things that we do that are the same. It's just represented differently inside this box here, but we're still doing distributed property. We're still doing the partial products and all of that. It just looks different. So here we have 7,649. So again, I'm putting an expanded form. The 7 comes from the 7, or the 7,000 comes from the 7. The 600 comes from the 6. The 40 comes from the 4. The 9 comes from the 9. So each of these values, it's written like this because of the placement of where the number is. So because the 6 is in the hundreds place, I know that it's 600. All right, and so on. Then we're taking all of that and we're multiplying it by 5. So we put our 5 over here. So when I'm in this box here, I'm going to look up and then I'm going to look over. That's 7,000 times 5. Circle my answer there. If I'm in this box, I'm going to look up and I'm going to look over and I multiply that out to get 3,000. This box, look up and look over. Multiply that out to get 200. This box, look up and look over. Multiply that together to get 45. These are my partial products. This right here, this part, let me grab a pen. This part inside, this is that distributed property. That's what that looks like. These right here that I've circled, that's the partial products. So we add up our partial products to get our product here, 38,245. And then here is another example. 123 times 4. The 1 has a value of 100. The 2 has a value of 20. The 3 has a value of 3. So that distributed property would just be 100 times 4 plus 20 times 4 plus 3 times 4. These were a couple that I was helping with students on their independent work assignment. They had a quiz today. So it was a 2-digit by a 2-digit, and they were trying to solve it with using they were estimating. And so 54, we rounded that to 50. 19, we rounded that to 20. And then this is just like when we practiced at the beginning of the week when we were practicing multiplying things with tens, hundreds, and thousands. Whenever you have these zeros here, all you do is you multiply the first digit. So 5 times 2 gives us the 10. And then there's 1 0 here and 1 0 here. So you need 2 zeros at the end. Same thing with this bottom one, 66 times 42. To get the estimated answer, 66 rounds to 70, 42 rounds to 40. Multiply that. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but I do know 7 times 4 is 28. And then I just add those two zeros, 1, 2, to the end. So 2,800 is my answer there. So those were a couple that came up that students were having trouble with that that I went over. And so there everything's on the agenda here, but let me show you. Their independent work is right here. Multiplication week 15 math quiz. So they need to make sure that math quiz is done. Let me go ahead and go over all this stuff that's in Google Classroom that needs to be done. So everything that you see here that has a green clip, the green clipboard, all of those need to be grayed out. So if you see one that's still dark green, that needs to be done. So all of these, the one that we did today was this one here. And then some of them didn't turn, some of the kids didn't turn in their math from yesterday. We finished this yesterday. There was a Friday page, but it just said to go do this quiz. So that could be turned in as well if it wasn't yesterday. And then this distributed property, we did this yesterday. Make sure that gets turned in as well. So those were the 3 math things for this week on here. And then after that, in reading, we took I don't have Seesaw. Let me open Seesaw real quick. We took a reading test today in reading, and it's just one test, but I have it in 2 sections because one part I couldn't fit them together. So one part is the informational reading assessment, and then the other part is the poetry reading assessment. And so they click here, and they'll have to zoom in, and they read the poem, and then there's 13 questions on that one poem, and then they finish that get all their answers. Then they go to the informational reading assessment. Same thing. They read the story, and then there's questions that go with the story. And so once they're done with that, I want them to enter in their answers into Aware. And so these two, they took us all the way up till lunchtime. And so for writing, we did that during our writing time today. But those that were finished were asked to go ahead and make sure that let me pull it up here, their writing assignment here is all complete. And so where we left off, there was a couple that we didn't get to yesterday. So just going through here and making sure every page is done. So there was a couple with the right here, the commas in a series to separate items. So just making sure, like here, you're talking about the colors of the flag. So the flag is red, white, and blue. So that's 3 or more. And so you need to separate those with a comma. So red, comma, white, comma, and blue. Here, another example, they're talking about things that Jen has. So she has a pencil, a book, and then the crown. So that's 3 items. So you need to separate them with a comma. So pencil, comma, a book, comma, and a crown. And so, putting those commas in that you don't need to rewrite it. It just says to put the commas where they go. And then this little Batman writing thing, that's optional, but I do want them to do this one right here for Friday. So you are same thing. You've got a sentence here. Don't forget. So there's you're emptying the trash, you're vacuuming the carpet, you're washing the windows. So that's 3 things that you're doing for your this thing that they're saying. So that's a list. So you need to make sure that you separate those by commas. So empty the trash is one thing, vacuum the carpet is the next thing, wash the windows is the last thing. So all of those need commas in the right spot. So once that's finished, then they went to the Friday quiz, which is on Google Classroom, and that's the commas in a series. And so making sure that we've got almost just about 6 more. So we've got almost everybody's in, but making sure that got done. And then for science today, we took some notes. So let me get my science. So we took up to here. So go ahead and pause the video and make sure you have those notes in your notebook. And so we talked about how Earth's water is constantly recycled through the water cycle, meaning that it doesn't go anywhere. So it may be like down here, it says it could be in a different form. So it could be a solid, it could be a liquid, or it could be a gas. But that cycle of that same water being cycled through those different processes, it's not change, it's the same water over and over going through this cycle. And so it's constantly being recycled. And then the other big point that we wrote down here today is that it's powered by the energy of the sun. So if we were not getting the sun's heat and all that, the evaporation couldn't take place and our cycle wouldn't happen. We wouldn't even have the water cycle if it wasn't for the sun. So we need to know that the water cycle is powered by the sun. It keeps changing and it's constantly being recycled. So it's a continuous thing that keeps going on and on and on. Here was that chart that we did yesterday that I was talking about yesterday. So I wanted to make sure kids have all of this. So pause the video so you can make sure that you have all of that. And then today we got into Scratch, the coding website, and we started some coding. And so I showed an example of mine, and I had another student finish and show an example of his. But these are the 4 things that I want to make sure that everybody has. So mine and the student that shared, ours were different, but they have the same 4 things: the sun, evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. So there needs to be the teaching piece where you're describing what those 4 things are and you're showing what they mean. So you can use your information that we've taken with the notes, and we've got more coming up on the different things. So we'll do a little bit each day, but use these notes to put into your project on Scratch. So try to get a try to get that set, and then Monday we're going to start. Today we got the sprites up, all the little different pictures was the goal, and Monday we'll start with the actual coding where we get stuff to start moving around and doing some things. So make sure you have those 4 things. And students finished the last part of their social studies, and then we had some fun Friday time, and that is it. So make sure the test gets turned in, make sure everything week 15 for Seesaw gets turned in, and make sure everything Google Classroom for week 15 gets turned in, and corrections need to be done. Progress reports come out today, so I'll be sending some parents some information from students that are not passing still. So make sure that those grades are getting updated so that we can make sure everybody's passing and doing a great job. All right, hope you had a great week, and I will see you Monday. Thank you.